Hi there, it's Jessie here and a big fat warm welcome to this big fat warm channel. Hi, thank you very much for being here. Guys, guess what? Accidentally in love. Accidentally in love. I'm addicted to falling in love. I'm addicted to the dopamine. I am crazy and maladjusted in my mind when it comes to romance. Okay, now I have been working on this for 10 years. I'm doing my best. I've learned everything I could, the science, the psychology, everything. And I still don't get it. And I was talking to my sister about it. So I'm being pursued at the minute. You know, when one door closes, another one opens. Yeah, tell me about it. When I close the door, doors open, man. Doors flipping open really quick. And every time I'm like, damn. Anyway, I'm being pursued at the minute. And I gotta say, admiration feels good. When somebody looks at me and admires me, I feel it. And I feel good. Feels so good. And isn't life about making decisions to feel good? And there is that thing, isn't there, like short-term gain and long-term gain. Like, you know that experiment they do with kids? I need to breathe. I'm a bit excited. Hold up. You know that experiment they do with kids where they're like, here's a jelly bean, but if you don't eat it, I'm just going to go out the room, and if you don't eat it, I'll come back in and bring you another one. You know, and they can tell pretty quickly if a child's going to be successful based on how they behave. So if they eat the jelly bean straight away and they don't wait, but if they can wait and they've already developed like long-term gain, you know, maybe sacrifice in the moment for long-term gain, they're much more, well, they're going to be successful. And I'm definitely in the first camp. What about you? Definitely. So I don't know why I'm talking about that, but anyway, talking to my sister about it, and I'm like, babe, how do I do it? Because I'm very much like, I go in strong at the beginning, really, really strong, and then it fizzles out pretty fast. And I'm doing my best to notice that and then not do it. And I was talking to my sister about it. She's the same, prone to fantasy, prone to limerence. You might be like that if you're here watching. And she read me this quote, and this moved me deeply. Tears streamed down my face when she read this to me. I felt it touched deeply in a part of me, and it stirred up two emotions, which I'll talk about afterwards. It stirred up deep self-love and understanding for myself and my child, and deep grief for what wasn't there when she needed it. So here we go. I'm going to read it out. It's fascinating. It's so beautiful. So to let you know, this is on Instagram by somebody called Hannah Fraser Moore. She's a Jungian analyst, and she wrote this, and I think it's beautiful. Here we go. When a child is not mirrored, she builds a world that will. Jung called this the self-compensating for the failure of the outer world. Some children are not met in their emotions, their instincts, their inner world, or emerging sense of self. The mothering gaze is absent, so the soul seeks attunement elsewhere. The psyche does what it must. It builds a symbolic world, a wild inner sanctuary where the sacred feminine still lives. Here, in its own land, the soul makes its den. I mean, can I get an amen? Is this just what all us introverts do? We just turn inward and imagine that it's all okay. Listen to this. She speaks to trees, whispers to rivers, finds the mother in the wind and the mirror in the moon. What is not found in the human world is often found in the more than human. I mean, every time I go down to that river and I speak to it and I feel a deep sense of connection again, the solace and connection and love that I can find in the natural world far surpasses that which I've experienced with another human. And I have experienced it with other humans, but briefly, nothing that lasts. So, and nature's always there. That river doesn't go anywhere. I mean, they do dry up eventually, but you know what I mean. My goodness. Anyway, let's keep going. She becomes myth maker and story walker, not to escape her life, but to survive it. To imagine is to remember what the culture tried to make her forget. Our ancestors knew that stories were medicine. In Jungian and post-Jungian terms, this is not regression, it is compensation, a sacred instinct of the self. When the mothering field is absent, the psyche turns inward to build one. The imagination becomes a womb for the self, a symbolic sanctuary where the ego can grow when outer life fails to hold. Eco-psychotherapist Mary Jane Rust speaks of the ecological body as the part of us that remembers our kinship with land, river, root, and stone. This is the sacred feminine in her wildest form, the one who holds the child when no one else will. I mean, I got to read up about this ecological body. I really relate to this. The child who disappears into fantasy is often the child whose outer world was too empty or too loud or too full of someone else's pain. So she retreats, not out of choice, but because her wholeness had nowhere else to go. The wild self steps in to carry what the world refused to hold. She was not delusional or a bit strange. She was devoted to the soul, to the self, to the wild magic within her, to the sacred feminine that never left, to the wild return. So that sparked two things inside of me. One was a deep love and appreciation for my inner child and her ability to keep the flame alive. So I came into this world, and due to reasons of their own, extremely valid, and there's no bludgement or blame. There's no bludgement or blame here. Towards my parents, they loved me and they did the absolute best they could, but emotionally I wasn't held or supported. And why am I saying this? The ability of my child to keep her flame alive, even if it wasn't reflected out there, but to say, no, I know what's possible. I know the unconditional love that I can experience in this world, and I will seek it where it's always available in nature. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, little Jess. Thank you for your magic. Thank you for doing that. And the grief that stirred up in me when my sister read it, the grief for her, like being reminded of what wasn't there. You know, and this is it. This is what I keep coming back to. Rather than like feel and process that grief, which I wasn't able to do as a small child, especially since I wasn't being held in my emotion enough, it was the way I protected myself. So I can have so much appreciation and love for her, and touches on that grief. Touches on that part where it's like, what? What? Mummy? Daddy? Mama? So yeah, can you relate? Oh, so now my psyche has formed in such a way that I have a deep mistrust that any human can meet me in my wholeness. I'm not saying that's true, but that's a belief I have. And that is the belief I'm trying to rewrite. You got to have a little tenderness. Donkey from Shrek, one of my favorite characters of all time. Anyway, I'm feeling pretty hopeful about it. I really am. I'm feeling good. I do wonder if we're like, you know, if there's certain things in our development, if they're irreversible. Like, is everything able to be healed? I've got examples of teachers in my life that, my goodness, did they go through childhood trauma repeatedly for years, some serious abuse, and they have managed to heal. They have managed to liberate themselves and step into this role of being of service to others who have gone through the same, because it's kind of the only thing left to do. I really do believe that. If you really heal yourself, you're like, well, I got to make sure this doesn't happen as much as I can. I got to prevent this happening from anyone else, or support the people who have been through the same thing, show them the way out. So I have fantastic examples. And then I think about Gabor Mate, a book he read where he's talking about the clinic that he has in the States, and that these people were so deeply traumatized when they were young. It was, maybe irreversible, he's saying. They're addicted to drugs. It's really, life is like a day-to-day survival. And what they try to do at this clinic is not heal them or fix them, but just provide them with the resources so they can have a kind of life. They can have some enjoyment and peace in their life as and when, like they do the best they can. And, I've seen neuroscientists talk about this, like the development of the brain. And, the development of a brain in orphan children doesn't really happen, guys. Like a normal child. So I saw these images of these two brain scans of the child when they were born, and then the child when they were 1 and when they were 2. And a child just in a normal family, you see the brain developing and growing. And then the same scans of the orphan child, it doesn't grow. There's like an inch that doesn't grow. And maybe that's irreversible if it doesn't develop, like stunted growth. So yeah, great. Just wondering if my psyche is able to reverse this functioning, the way that it learned to survive. I really do wonder. We'll see. I'm going to do my best, I really am. Even if it's just building awareness around the kind of psyche I have, and then navigating and making decisions based on what's probably best for me. Think about that long-term gain, Jess, if you can. Accidentally in love. I think what it might be is, I really do feel whoever you meet romantically, if you're like as skewed up as I am, that they're always going to reflect that in some way, in some capacity, in their own way, and we will trigger each other on that. But if you've got two individuals that are committed to work through those issues together and not take it out on the other person, or if they do take accountability for that, and work on it as a team to overcome these things, it's probably our best shot, isn't it? So onwards and upwards, guys. I'm going to be going away for a couple of weeks. I'm going up to the mountains, so I will see you on the other side. I'm very excited. So I'll leave it here for now, and I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, and I love you all dearly. So as always, like the video if you liked it. Let us know your thoughts down below. Is this you? Are you equally delusional and imaginative? Let us know, and hit subscribe if you would like more content like this, and we'll see you in the next video. Otherwise, have a beautiful day, beautiful life, and despite everything, we got this.